All right, so diving in today, we're taking a deep dive into a book that's really been making waves. I Don't Love You Anymore by Rithvik Singh. It's if you've ever kind of gone through those crazy ups and downs of love, felt that sting of heartbreak, or even if you're on that road to like finding yourself again, this is a book, and this deep dive I think will really resonate. We're going to unpack all those emotions Singh kind of lays out and figure out what it is about this that's really hit home for so many people.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting right off the bat to think about Singh's own journey with this book. I mean, to go from self-publishing to being picked up by Penguin Random House India.
Right.
And then to become this like bestseller and social media like phenomenon. It's pretty wild. I mean, it really makes you think he's tapped into something universal about how we experience love and loss today,
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't see that with every poetry collection, you know what I mean? It's not every day that a book of poems becomes this like cultural moment.
Right, exactly.
So I think what we want to do today is really get into the emotional landscape that he's created here. From that first rush of connection to the absolute devastation of heartbreak, and then, finally how to move on, how to heal, how to find self-love. So, okay, let's unpack this thing. Let's start with that initial phase, falling in love, that kind of crazy feeling that Singh writes about. What stands out to you in his portrayal of those early days, those early stages of love?
I think he captures the intensity of that bond.
Yeah.
Like that feeling when you meet someone and you just feel this deep connection.
Right.
And there's so much vulnerability there. There's this willingness to open yourself up,
Absolutely.
to another person.
Yeah.
And all that is driven by this hope, this belief that you've found something that will actually last.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like an innocent idealism.
Yeah.
Like, you see everything through rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses such vivid imagery too. I mean, he talks about love as this pure, selfless force, that just makes everything better. Like life just has this new vibrancy, and this feeling of belonging. Like you found home just by looking into someone else's eyes. It's powerful stuff.
It is. And then you have those early moments, where you wake up and the first thing you think about is their name.
Oh yeah.
Or you're already like planning a future together. He really nails those feelings, those little details.
And he finds so much meaning in those small moments too. It's not, always these grand gestures. It's the shared laughter, the comfortable silences, the way that even, ordinary things become extraordinary just by being with them.
Exactly. It's like everything is new and front of potential.
And there's this one line that really captures that early feeling of just like total all-consuming devotion. He says, "What good is this heart if it cannot be with the person it beats for?" And it's so raw, so absolute, like your entire world revolves around this other person.
It's powerful. But I also think there's a hint of maybe a little bit of vulnerability in there too.
Right. Yeah, because, it's beautiful and selfless, but it also suggests maybe that you're depending on this other person for your happiness.
Yeah. And as the book goes on, you see how that kind of imbalance can cause problems.
Exactly. Because as we all know, life happens. Right. And that initial intensity, it doesn't always, stick around. And the book, it takes this turn. You start to see doubt creeping in, those insecurities, and the relationship starts to unravel a bit. What are some of the signs that Singh points to that show, love starting to fade?
Well, he talks a lot about the pain of unrequited love. That feeling of giving so much, but getting very little back. There's this sense of longing, this fear of abandonment, and you're fighting so hard to hold on to something that's slipping away. Yeah,
and I think Singh is very clear that real love shouldn't be, this constant struggle. It should be freely given. It shouldn't be something that you have to, chase after or fight for all the time. And he even touches on how staying in a relationship where you're constantly trying to prove yourself can really damage your self-esteem.
Yeah. And that raises a big question, why do people stay in relationships that are clearly hurting them? And the book suggests that a lot of times it's because they're scared of being alone.
Yeah.
That the unhealthy dynamic, even though it's bad, feels safer than being on their own.
It's yeah. I mean, it's that whole fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
Like we'd rather stick with what's familiar, even if it's not good for us.
And that leads to this this really powerful question in the book.
Yeah.
You're staying with them because you're scared of being heartbroken. But tell me, aren't they already breaking your heart every day?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's heavy.
It is. It makes you stop and think about what you're actually going through in the present.
Yeah. You're so focused on what might happen in the future, if you break up. But you're not really dealing with the pain that's happening right now.
And I think it also makes you rethink what heartbreak really means. Is it the actual breakup, or is it the slow, chipping away at your soul while you're still together?
And the book takes us to that, to that breaking point. It doesn't shy away from that moment when you realize, that the love is gone. You have to accept that it's over. And there's so much grief there, letting go of someone who is such a big part of your life. It's brutal.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And Singh describes that feeling of your loved one becoming a stranger. Like they used to know you better than anyone, and now they feel distant. And all the memories, the good times you shared, they become like painful reminders of what you've lost.
And that's when Singh really emphasizes, choosing yourself. It's this idea that love shouldn't be something you have to beg for. And sometimes walking away, as hard as it is, it's the best thing you can do for yourself.
And he's so honest about the emotions.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't sugarcoat the pain of heartbreak. The sleepless nights, the constant ache, the slow realization that it's really over. He puts it all out there.
And there's this line that's so important, so powerful. He says, "Love is not a trophy you have to fight for, but a gift someone wants to give you every day without you having to ask for it."
I love that. It completely changes how you think about relationships.
Yeah.
It's not about, trying to prove yourself worthy. It's about recognizing when someone truly loves you and wants to be with you.
And knowing the difference, I think, is huge. Knowing when to hold on and knowing when to let go.
Mm-hmm.
But the book doesn't leave you in that darkness. It moves into this space of healing, of recovery. It reminds you that moving on is possible, and it's a sign of strength.
And he really drives home the point that you are worthy of love and peace,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what you've been through. Leaving a bad situation, a toxic relationship, it's not a failure.
Right.
It's choosing yourself. It's a step towards a better future.
And it's about rebuilding yourself, rediscovering your self-worth, putting your own happiness first, instead of clinging to something familiar that's not serving you anymore.
Absolutely. And he also talks about, practical things you can do to heal, like forgiveness.
Right.
Forgiving the people who hurt you, and maybe even more importantly, forgiving yourself. He talks about the importance of spending time alone, finding happiness within yourself instead of looking for it from other people.
And ultimately, it all comes back to that relationship you have with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most important one. And there's this beautiful line, let your love for yourself be the tapestry that decorates your heart. I mean, what do you make of that image, that metaphor?
Well, a tapestry, it's intricate, right? It's beautiful. It's something you create over time. It's not something someone gives you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your own, You have the power to make it what you want.
Yeah. So, as we start to wrap up this deep dive into I Don't Love You Anymore, let's think about some of the big themes here. I mean, it seems like this book really gets at the heart of the human experience with love.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, it shows you that love is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just this fairy tale. It's messy. It's painful.
Right.
There's joy. There's heartbreak. Sometimes it's healthy. Sometimes it's not.
And then there's that whole idea of letting go.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about the end of a relationship. It's about letting go of everything that's holding you back. The false hope, the pain, the fear.
And as hard as it is to let go, sometimes it's the only way to move forward.
And then at the core of it all, there's this focus on self-love and healing. It's not just something nice to have. It's essential.
It really is. Knowing your worth, loving yourself, it's the foundation for everything.
And I think it's important to remember that, these themes, they're universal.
Mm-hmm.
If you've lost, you've probably felt these things. And I think that's part of why Singh's work has resonated with so many people.
Yeah, especially online.
Especially online, right. It's accessible, it's relatable. And that brings us back to Singh's impact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he started self-publishing. Now he's this huge success.
Yeah.
And it really shows you the power of poetry, the power of expressing your emotions honestly and connecting with people.
And social media has played a big role in that, too.
Right. It's changed the way we consume, the way we share, the way we connect with art.
And it's allowed writers like Singh to reach a much wider audience.
So as we finish up this deep dive into I Don't Love You Anymore, we've really seen how it explores love, heartbreak, and healing.
And we've seen how Singh's journey reflects the changing landscape of publishing and how raw emotional honesty can really connect with people.
So here's something to think about, as you go about your day. Think about the relationships in your own life, the ones you've had, the ones you have now, and most importantly, the one you have with yourself.
Yeah.
What parts of Singh's story resonate with you? And what can you do, even something small, to love yourself more and to build healthier, stronger relationships with the people in your life?
It's a good question, a good thing to reflect on.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.